Breaking news in the culture war front, and good news for those who believe in free speech, kind of. Internet hall monitor Right Wing Watch has been banned from YouTube. They filed an appeal and it was rejected. Now, there's some speculation as to why they got banned. And of course, Right Wing Watch is trying to claim that they're just trying to expose the bigots. So YouTube has banned them. Now, it's entirely possible YouTube does reinstate this channel. And in a deeply personal sense, for my principles, I would like to see Right Wing Watch reinstated. They are allowed to criticize people they don't like. But here's the big problem. I'm not going to put up a defense for them. I'll explain my principles, sure, but I am not going to defend arsonists who are seeking to destroy the very system by which we communicate with each other. We have warned over and over again that if you push for censorship, eventually it will come back to you. And Glenn Greenwald has made this very clear when he stated, I think it was Glenn Greenwald, I'm paraphrasing, that if there's any group of people with the most inability to learn, it is liberals advocating for censorship, because invariably these powers eventually come and censor them. And here we are. It is a disaster of your own making. Now, Right Wing Watch, for those that aren't familiar, is a nonprofit organization. I believe so. Actually, let me just read a little bit about what they say, because I want to make sure I get their description correctly. But I'll tell you what I think they are first, so you understand. The goal of Right Wing Watch is to generate money smearing the right so that there's a tool for activists to raise money for Democrats. I get emails from the People for the American Way. And it's basically like a Democrat advocacy. In order to get people to vote Democrat, they create a boogeyman in the right. They find the most egregious examples. They take things out of context. They smear people. It's bad for us. It's bad for discourse. I'm not sad to see them go. Bye-bye. Look, you want to advocate for censorship and then expect me to defend you. You're wrong. Here's what you need to know about Right Wing Watch before we get started. And I want to stress there's a lot from people there that are making really interesting points about this. Count Dankula, of course, posting the meme where it's like, but it's a private company. And then I want to talk to you about Steven Crowder, how he was targeted, what he's getting censored for, and why people think Right Wing Watch was banned. For those that aren't familiar, Right Wing Watch says that they are a project of the People for the American Way dedicated to monitoring and exposing the activities and rhetoric of right-wing activists and organizations in order to expose their extreme agenda. Our researchers monitored dozens of broadcast emails, websites, and used their expertise on right-wing movements to analyze and distill information for media outlets and the general public. By shedding light on the activities of the right-wing movement, we help expose the risks its extreme and intolerant agenda presents to our country. I love this one. Here's NewsGuard saying that they are perfectly credible. A site covering right-wing extremism, it's not. Now, some of it they cover is, but a lot of it's like they've written several articles about Carl Benjamin. Look, man, Carl Benjamin is a classical liberal guy. You want to try and smear some far right extreme dude, you are reaching. But we got the breaking news from timcast.com. Let's actually refresh so we get some updates here. YouTube bans internet hall monitor Right Wing Watch. YouTube banned the hyper-partisan far-left organization Right Wing Watch from their platform on Monday. The organization, which is dedicated to deplatforming conservatives, announced that they had been censored themselves on Twitter, saying, "Our efforts to expose the bigoted view and dangerous conspiracy theories spread by right-wing activists has now resulted in YouTube banning our channel and removing thousands of our videos. We attempted to appeal this decision and YouTube rejected it." YouTube said that their account was terminated due to severe or repeated violations of their community guidelines. And there are a few we can cite. One ironic one and one legitimate violation. I think Right Wing Watch legitimately violated YouTube guidelines. And we'll get to that in a second. Many of the people Right Wing Watch have attempted to get censored celebrated the irony of the situation. The organization is frequently referred to by people on the right as the hall monitors of the internet. Count Dankula posting the hilarious little meme. Well, they are a private company and can do what they want, and you don't have a right to a platform. And shrug. Although Dankula does go on to say, I hope they reinstate your channel and you get your videos back. I don't. No, I don't. I used to, but I realized something, okay? These are people that are walking up behind you and well, I won't get too extreme. They're sucker punching you. That's how it works. They walk up, sucker punch. All right. You will sit there and call for honor. You will sit there and say, I would like to play a game of chess. And at every single turn, they cheat. And we keep defending them. We can't. We can defend free speech. But we don't need to defend the people who are trying to burn down free speech, because let me just cite the paradox of intolerance that the left loves to prop up. That little comic. They say, if we tolerate intolerance, eventually the intolerant win. Okay, so I won't tolerate their intolerance. They're completely intolerant. They want to ban speech. Okay, bye-bye. You get rid of things like right-wing watch, and there is less barricading us from communication. There's more opportunity to speak, challenge even bad ideas. Right-wing watch deserves no one's sympathy. Jack Posobiec posts a little gif of Mike Lindell. Styx Hexenhammer says, those who live by the sword. Right-wing watch regularly stole. So here's where some people start making a speculation as to what really happened. Now, this is irony. Right-wing watch regularly stole content from creators and defamed them. Their harassment has finally been countered. Tarl Warwick, known as Styx Hexenhammer, wrote. He added, you know you could always use Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble. Oh yeah, wait. You alienated them all by calling them hateful, LOL. Guess opposing free expression isn't a great idea, is it? Countless conservatives also commented, telling the organization to build their own YouTube, a comment frequently made by the left when a conservative is censored. I said, try Gab. Good on YouTube, right-wing commentator Lauren Chen wrote, you get what you deserve. Andrew Follett said, I've been assured by you that the proper response to this is just build your own YouTube. That's right. Well, I don't know if Right-Wing Watch has ever explicitly stated that themselves, but certainly fans and some people associated with Right-Wing Watch have made these statements before in the past. Now, I don't want to come out here and claim that the writers of Right Wing Watch are prominently shouting, make your own YouTube. But when it comes to the general left and what they have called for, typically they say, YouTube doesn't owe you a platform and they shouldn't be propping up, ideology, blah, 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 or whatever. All right. Right Wing Watch, you're gone. There's a couple reasons why Right Wing Watch may have been banned. I think one of them is legitimate, and I think one of them may be ironic, but maybe not fair. I think there's one of the reasons they may have gotten banned is that they are hosting hate speech. I know, it's stupid, right? Now, this would be the funniest reason, and it may actually be the reason. Right Wing Watch would go to right-wing channels, take clips, and then put them up on their own channels and be like, look at this awful thing. Okay. If the thing was truly awful and you wanted it to be banned, YouTube will ban you for posting it. How about that? I think it's very, very likely a reason why they did get banned. When they would get someone banned, they would still host that content. That's a problem for YouTube. Think about it. YouTube is going to host thousands of videos of like racist speech because one channel claims we're just highlighting how bad it is? It don't work that way. And this is one of the biggest mistakes they made. You, Right Wing Watch, advocated for this. You live by the sword. You set a fire, and the fire eventually engulfed you, and I ain't going to come defend you. Now, there's another reason they may have gotten banned, and that could be the reuse of content totally outside of the realm of hate speech. YouTube has been getting really strict on channels that don't produce anything and just regurgitate things. So what Right Wing Watch was doing, they would take a clip from someone's channel and then just upload it with like, hey, this is bad. YouTube does not like that. Now, I don't know if that's a direct violation of the guidelines, but I'd imagine if your whole channel is built upon that, probably would be. There's a big issue happening now with a lot of channels getting either demonetized or trying to start a channel to get monetized and being rejected. This actually happened to one of my channels. They claimed that we were rehosting content. I emailed my contacts at Google and I said, no, we aren't. We literally do only original content. And then they reviewed it and said, no, you rehost content. And then I said, no, we don't. It's mine. I'm saying these things. And then finally, after like 2 appeals, they said, oh, we're sorry about that. They are very, very strict. Why would YouTube want their platform to be populated by people who just download, copy, and re-upload content? It's not what YouTube wants to be. YouTube wants to be like HBO. YouTube is betting They can compete with Netflix by allowing some users a meritocratic system. Now, of course, you've got to fall within what YouTube wants, because you might have a channel get really, really big by making some really weird content YouTube doesn't like. So it's not the same as Netflix, but pretty much the same mainstream guidelines in a lot of ways. YouTube, interestingly, allows a lot of content some platforms don't, but typically bans a lot of content that other platforms do. It's a weird system. I'll put it simply. YouTube doesn't mind, to a certain degree, conservative content. But if it threatens their advertisers, which a lot of conservative content does, then you're gone. Right Wing Watch, in my opinion, was probably pulling things out of context, and it was probably a bit duplicitous in their efforts, so naturally they get removed. I want to point out why this is really, really bad. Now, I can be happy that Right Wing Watch is gone because they're the arsonists. But you may have seen this story. YouTube suspends Louder with Crowder again, applies second hard strike on his channel. Steven Crowder got a strike on one of his channels because he was talking about a news story and he was being, what's the right word? I don't know if upbeat is the right word. He was talking about a crime. He was saying we supported the police and like that's the way it is. And they claimed he was celebrating it. I think that's ridiculous. In another instance, he was citing CDC numbers and they said medical misinformation. That's right. YouTube policy on certain issues that I'm not going to say because no reason to bring up things to get this video banned when it's about something else. But YouTube's policy related to COVID has a huge list of things you can't say. And some of them are actually medical misinformation. And it was surprising to me. I was like, I can't say that. That's like normal mainstream fact. No wonder so many people are getting banned. They've lost their minds. Why? Advertisers are dumb, really dumb. Coca-Cola, okay, you know what? I'm not going to use a real brand. Let's say, Spacely Sprockets. Maybe they want to sell widgets and sprockets or whatever. They don't know anything about culture war. They don't know anything about politics. So they go to an advertising agency who tells them, here's what you don't want to do. We'll do the ad for you. And they make a really garbage ad. Some activist emails them complaining and they say, someone said a naughty word on YouTube. So they go to YouTube and say, we don't want our ad appearing on this video. YouTube then says, these videos are bad for advertisers. Get rid of them. It is not a mainstream thing. YouTube just panics because the advertiser panics because one or two activists, 30 or so angry lunatics on Twitter send an email, or one person with 30 accounts does it. YouTube then creates ridiculous policies and bans everybody. Typically, these advertisers aren't scared of conservatives because conservatives don't have any mainstream institutional authority. They're terrified the New York Times will call them dumb names. The same is true for Republicans. Republican candidates are terrified that the New York Times will write nasty words about them. They should be concerned about the opinion of their constituents. So unfortunately for many of them, they're not. Now, here's why all of this is bad news, but it may be good news. Right Wing Watch is getting lit up. Over at timcast.com, get another article. Fewer than 1 in 3 Americans trusts the media to report the truth. Americans have the lowest trust in the media in the world, according to a new survey. Fewer than 1 in 3 Americans trust the media, according to a study from Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism at Oxford, which interviewed 29,000 people in 46 countries. Additionally, amongst American conservatives, only 1/5 said that the media reflects their views correctly. The majority of Americans, whose political views lean left, 51%, believe that the media reflects their views correctly, while 34% disagreed. Fewer than 1/3 of centrists and 1/5 of conservatives agree. Self-identified conservatives have a 59 percentage point gap. 16% say the media portray conservatives accurately, while 75% disagree, the Daily Wire reports. And the Daily Wire is reporting on a Poynter Institute study. This is you need to understand this. There's a reason why YouTube tends to be right-wing. And there's a reason, or I should say it's not right-wing. That's wrong. There's a reason why there are many independent conservative channels or anti-establishment channels. YouTube is overwhelmingly left-wing. You've got major mainstream corporations. You've got CNN, MSNBC. You've got Jimmy Kimmel, blah, blah, blah. They are propped up. They're put on the front page. They're given preferential algorithmic treatment. The reason why the right does well on YouTube, or I should say not just the right, but typically the right, the anti-left, anti-establishment left, whatever. The reason they do, like Jimmy Dore, for instance, he's definitely a leftist, but he's super anti-establishment. The reason they do well is that people are trying to escape the lies of the mainstream media. So they'll go on YouTube. This is why Right Wing Watch is in a panic. They need to remove channels like mine. They need the algorithm to suppress channels like mine, and YouTube is often all too happy to oblige. This is one of the greatest platforms we have. YouTube has its problems. A lot of people say, Tim, why don't you just quit YouTube and stop using it because they're censoring people? I mean, there's a point to be made. Maybe we shouldn't use YouTube. Maybe we should switch to BitChute or Minds or something else. YouTube is still an excellent tool with a massive platform. I will not give up a battlefield simply because we've been losing the center. You understand? Now, of course, look, obviously, I don't consider myself to be conservative, but the culture war left and right are clearly nonsensical terms. It's just tribal indicators, and I'm certainly not a leftist. I consider myself to be moderate, and I think moderates and conservatives are aligned. It's probably the easiest way to put it. So when you look at centrists, what do you get? Naturally, centrists don't think they're being represented properly. Joe Rogan's pretty much centrist. He aligns a lot with the right. He hosts Brett Weinstein talking about certain issues I can't repeat. This is a battlefield. The left holds the high ground. We don't retreat from a battlefield when we're holding firm. Yes, many people have been banned. Yes, we are being, knocked off one by one, those who oppose the establishment narratives. But so long as we still have some of the battlefield and we can maintain that ground until we are defeated and removed, we stay. But naturally, you may have noticed 2 of the articles that I'm using today are from timcast.com. Why? I'm not stupid enough to think I will exist forever on YouTube. The Overton window is being pushed further and further left. Now, there's some good news here. This story should be cause for optimism. Right-wing watch, left-wing extremism, and hyper-partisan garbage is being removed. We want a sane middle ground. That means conservatives, moderates, liberals. The liberals and the conservatives can argue, and the moderates can look back and forth and be like, can't we all just get along? And I disagree, and I disagree, and I agree, and I agree. But the far left are a serious problem. They have tremendous institutional influence. They make Democrats go crazy. And what are the Republicans doing? Sitting on their hands and actually attacking their own. Are there problems with Republicans and ideology and views they have? Of course. Yes. The problems with liberals? Yes, there are. Here's the issue. When it comes to television, movies, comic books, video games, and yes, even YouTube, the left owns it all. So when far left extremists scream, the left just bends the knee. And then YouTube starts pumping out left-wing extremists. But there are still people who will share videos, who will share a video like this one, if you haven't already, who will become members at timcast.com. When you share videos, you are pushing back against YouTube's algorithm. Think about it this way. How many of you believe that YouTube would love to eliminate all political content? No Minecraft and nothing else. We just want to spam Mr. Beast to everybody. Of course they would. Why don't they? They can't. This isn't against the rules, what I'm doing. Now, they can lie. They can try and remove Crowder very, very slowly. They're trying. Eventually, they may. So Crowder goes on Rumble. Trump, I think, went on Rumble. We are now on Rumble. Eventually, it will happen, but it's difficult. So long as we are within the rules, they can slowly change the rules. They can try and make arguments, but it has to be done within certain expectations. But when people share links, the algorithm cannot stop us. So here's what happens. I'll make a video criticizing the left. It's not the most extreme, far right, crazy anything. It's kind of a moderate view saying, hey, don't be for censorship. I'm not going to defend you, right? You then learn the story about Right Wing Watch, and I give you my opinion. It's not a crazy opinion. It's not extreme in any way. It's just I disagree with what this organization does. I think they're bad people. You're able to hear this. Now, YouTube does not promote my show to the front page. Let me explain. To a regular person who goes on YouTube, YouTube is not going to show them my videos. They're going to show you Mr. Beast. But if you are somebody who already watches similar content or my content, you'll start seeing it. That makes it very, very difficult for channels like mine to break through. So when you share the URL, you bypass the algorithm. They cannot stop that power. Literally, they can't. They've been trying. They're age gating now. So there's a lot of political channels where it's like, in order to watch this, you have to sign in. It makes it impossible to share content. Age-gated content can't be viewed on other platforms, so they are trying. So I know my channel won't be on this platform forever, But Right Wing Watch is substantially worse than my channels. And I do think YouTube likes my content to a certain degree. I think they view it as a pressure release valve. As they ban many on the far right, some people remain on platform to watch videos like mine. Those people are the ones typically say, Tim, you need to leave the platform. I'm not going, look, you may lose your right flank. I'm not going to abandon a battlefield, but I am planning our strategic retreat and building up our own fortress behind us. We may be on this culture war battlefield, but in the event we lose that front, we need somewhere to go to maintain, our defenses. That's why I'm launching. That's why we launched timcast.com. That's why we have a new website coming out in about a week and a half. Hopefully, it'll be really awesome because we're not going to give up. We're not going to back down. We're going to keep challenging extremists like Right Wing Watch. Of course, YouTube doesn't like that. YouTube doesn't like any culture war stuff. It's one of the reasons we made the vlog as well. Hey, look at that. We're just having fun. Making sure that we can influence culture, inspire people about the merits of individualism and freedom and liberty. And it doesn't always have to be a direct argument. One of the mistakes made by conservatives is ignoring the cultural. So what did we do? We went ziplining last week, right? Yesterday we went skating and we filmed a bunch of stuff. The goal is to create cultural content. We don't need to make an argument about freedom. We just show us engaging in fun and having that fun. We inspire young people to try and do the things that we do and be like us. And we're good people. We reject violence. We believe in peaceful, resourceful, and persuasive activism. And we're going to win. I'm more confident than ever. Michael Malice is a very confident guy. I always shout him out because the dude is seriously a genius. So many people have started to adopt his tactics. He mocks these people who are crazy on the left. He makes them, he explains why their ideas are bad, and he makes us laugh at them. But he's repeatedly said, look how stupid some of these extremists are. We should all be laughing because we're going to win. And I think he's right. There's been a lot of points made recently about why we are winning. And I'll put it this way. Bannon says when these parents see what their kids are learning in school, they'll freak out. But you know what? You know what else we're going to see? Timcast.com is working. It's winning. And it's thanks to all of you who watch. And that means I can have articles written by Cassandra Fairbanks, good friend of mine. She's amazing. Her articles are fantastic. And we're hiring more people. We're looking for editors. We just brought on our mystery writer, Shane, who wrote an amazing article introducing what we're going to be exploring. Nothing crazy, a moderate view at the unexplained and the paranormal, kind of like true crime, but focusing on issues of mysteries, the unsolved, paranormal. We've got one story we're looking at about buried and lost Confederate gold. Not necessarily conspiracy theories pertaining to the government, but just fun stories. Because we want people to come, we want them to have fun, we want them to watch entertaining things, and we want them to be inspired and to understand what we think is valuable so we can push back on the communists and the other extremists from the far left who are doing something similar. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.